All right. Let's, I am going to call the Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee of January 5th to order. Roll call, please.
Committee member Henry,
Here.
committee member Cutler,
Here.
committee member Hillebrand, committee member Hicks, trustee Thuzius, and President Linkfeld.
Here. Kevin's still on, right?
He must have got bumped off. He's redoing.
Okay. Well, I hope everybody had a good holiday season. We're at public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee. Please observe the time limit of 3 minutes while the Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee encourages input from residents. It may not discuss or act on any issue that is not duly noticed on the agenda. Do we have anybody for public comment?
Nobody registered and I don't see any hands up.
Okay, thank you. So the first one under general business is discussion and possible approval of the November 3rd, 2021 Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Seconded.
All right, thank you. I have a motion and a second discussion. I just have one item on that. Bobby, did you happen to record who was assigned in the minutes? It just says the 2023 capital improvement plan items, the committee assigned members to research certain 2023 capital improvement items. Do you have a list of what items and who got assigned those?
I do, yes.
Okay. Can we incorporate those in the minutes from this meeting then? So we
Sure.
have some record of that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, or should I just revise those minutes or?
Well, I'm okay with that. Is everybody else okay with that?
Sure. Whatever is easiest for her.
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same. All right, carries. Thank you. We'll go to number 2. That's the discussion and possible action on the sidewalk assessment report. The last time we met, there was some information that people wanted placed in that. The research has been done and added to that report. I think I captured everything. Are there any comments or are we ready to finalize this and move it up the food chain? Well, not hearing anything. Do I have a motion then to accept the sidewalk replacement report? That's how presented.
Yeah, are we just accepting, or are we recommending that it go to the board?
Well, we're recommending it go, we're accepting and recommending that.
Yeah,
it
then
goes
I'll
to the
make a
board.
motion to accept it and recommend presenting it to the board.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same. Carries, thank you. So we'll go to the next on the line is discussion and possible action on street light report. Michael's here. He is obviously the main guy on this. So Michael, you want to give a little overview on it?
Sure, I can do that. Pretty much when working on the streetlight policy, I came across these MG&E policies of how they bill for streetlights, which inside the report, I did like a 2-page thing that sort of basically summarized it very quickly, was what the meat and potatoes of it is. It's broken into 2 different time periods because on September 1st, they changed their billing structure, which makes it difficult because you're dealing with two different time periods. And they greatly simplified it in terms of understanding it as well. When working on the policy, I found these ways that they bill it and thought that the village could save money by essentially, if you own the streetlight, you're not leasing it from MG&E, which is basically what the facilities fee is that they charge. And through our discussion working on the policy, Jerry Gray said, well, I think a lot of the streetlights and the developments that have been brought into the village, we have the developer pay for them. And then when that development is annexed into the village, it becomes village property. And through that discussion, if that's been going on for a very long time, since 1996, we should be owning many more streetlights than the 18, well, the 33 or the 44, now that a new development has came in that we owned. It could get up into larger amounts, 100, 130. It isn't completely done. And that, as the report demonstrated, could lead to over a 4.5-year time period, depending on which neighborhood you include in that, a $60,000 to $80,000 refund over a 4.5-year period. And that's compounded. What wasn't clear in the report is that you don't add the $15,000 for the inaccurate count. That inaccurate count is actually included in the ownership number that I had on there. It wasn't 15 plus 8, but you do get some benefit though. And so basically what I've been doing is I've been doing a document, going up and finding old developers agreements and going all the way back to Cedar Glen, which is Ludden. We've pretty much required developers to install streetlights at their expense and they become property of the village. And it seems like it's been consistent. It's just trying to find those documents and whether or not, if it's submitted to MG&E, they're going to consider them to be valid or how you proceed from here.
Well, I guess that would be my question is, I'd like to divide this out in two because one seems easier than the other. So you're absolutely convinced that we're paying for more streetlights number-wise than we actually have.
In terms of the count, yeah, it's pretty obvious. Our bills, I asked for MG&E bills from Bobby. That's how I was able to do those counts in the report. Like, it's clear that when like Highway 14 construction went on, we lost however many streetlights, it says 31 or whatever in the report. That's when they took them all down from Main Street. Like on that one section in the report where I do the year thing. That's because from the old bills, I'm able to divide by, I think it's further up.
Yeah, we're page D. That one?
Yeah, right there. You can see from April of 2015 to 10 of 2015, we lost 34 streetlights. Those I can only attribute to those being taken down from Main Street because that's when that project happened. And then you have pretty much consistency. And then it's very obvious from on August of 2021 of this year, we have 322. And then in September 1st, the bill says 317, but they included the 11 that were added in Scenic Valley. So you have to knock that light off. We lost the light in the tornado. I mean, and then you read in there how I think that we're being double billed if my count of streetlights is accurate for the light in the Bear Park parking lot. Because they claim 317. When I first did I did my count of the village twice of streetlights, I got 317 twice, and they're billing us for 317 streetlights, but I counted the lights in the Bear Park parking lot as streetlights. But if they're being billed as outdoor overhead, then I really only have 315 streetlights. So that means right now they're still even billing us for possibly 2 more. Because if the person did the audit counted those as streetlights, they're being double billed. So on that day, on September 1st, they know that they are billing us overnight. The village lost like 17 streetlights and nothing was taken down. So in August, they were overbilling us by 17. I mean, that I can prove. I mean, that's just known, I mean, we didn't gain 17 or lose, those streetlights like that.
Call from Palmikalski, Leo.
Sorry.
That's right. So what is the next step, Michael? Do they have a form that we can fill out?
I
to get
haven't,
reimbursed?
yeah, I don't have any idea in terms of that. This is where I do have our account representative at MG&E. I mean, I contacted him to get basically their detailed street light detailed, and it basically tells me the number of each type that they bill us for. So I was able to look in, and he's been very forthcoming. It would be someone, either me or staff, contacting him, or Marty Jacoby, who's actually like the streetlight engineer. Marty Jacoby, when I've been reading these older documents, he's been involved with the installation of streetlights going all the way back to Ludden Drive. He's been at MG&E that long. So there's going to be some history with him as well, having knowledge of how these things should have been being done. I know someone who works at MG&E, and he said that their policy is that they only refund for incorrect billing for 5 years. But I mean, there's an opportunity to recoup 20 years of incorrect billing if this has been going on for that long. I mean, this could explode from $80,000 to $300 very easily, dependent on what those rates were for that long, if they've been doing this for that long.
Okay, so I guess would it be wise for maybe you and I to meet with him and figure out how we correct this and file an appeal? Or
Yeah, I've talked with Bill Chang, and he's like,
Yep.
you know, this is a utility issue. Does the Public Service Commission have influence into this at all? You know, I mean, I'm like, I don't have any idea.
Well, I don't want to burn bridges or anything like that, because it seems like they've been really good to us. So I just think we sit down and say, here are what we think the errors are. What is
Well,
the
right, yeah.
process?
We just present it to them and say, we think that you have some discrepancies inside your billing system, and these are the reasons why. I mean, here you go. Here's even another caveat to add to that. So a streetlight was taken out on Bullenbeck like a year and a half ago, and it was replaced it's going to be like in March, it'll be a year ago. And the village just got the bill for replacing that streetlight, and MG&E charged the village, you know, like $4,100 to replace that streetlight. And on the form, it actually says replacement of village-owned streetlight. Well, what's really weird is that through my contact with the account rep at MG&E, I asked them, well, what are the 18 streetlights, not counting the LEDs in Viridian? I know that's 15. What are the 18 streetlights that you say we own? That streetlight wasn't on the list of the ones that they say we owned, yet they back billed us for the replacement like we owned it. It's one we should own via developers agreements, but they've been billing it like they are leasing it to us. It's a lot of these issues that are happening where things aren't lining up.
Yeah, I know, but I think you've done the research and collected the data. My question is, what is the next step to move this forward and trying to make these errors correct? The bare minimum, we should get them switched over. So from this point on, we're not paying the higher rate, right?
Absolutely.
And then
if
we should
could-
look and say, what's the policy and procedure to get the back pay that's owed us? The
I agree.
refund.
That's where, I don't know, if you want to sit down and have a meeting, or if you want this to go to the board and have them decide, or talk with Bill Chang, and we then contact our contacts at MG&E and ask
No,
them.
First of all, Bill's leaving and he's got his plate really full. So I don't want to put this on him, and it's going to go way past January 21st.
Right?
I don't think we're ready to bring it to the board. I think what would be nice is if you could set up a meeting where I and your contact, I don't know if you want to see if both of them or just the rep, somebody from MG&E going over this and saying, what are the next steps for us?
Or yeah, I hear you now. So then at the bottom of the report, there was the one caveat that said, you know, if we say to MG&E, we think that we own all these streetlights. Yeah, like they're like, so we say to MGD, we think we own all these streetlights. They say, okay, here's the last 5 years of billing. You know, are they all gonna start to fail? And then we now own them and we have to replace them. That's where having the whole 20 years of back for ownership makes sense, because then we have the money to replace a fixture when it blows.
Yeah, well, I think
Well,
that's
if,
something.
hold on a second, just a question, clarifying. Now, if just like happened at Ballenbeck, though, if they replace them, they charge us anyway? So either we pay for it ourselves or we pay them back for doing it?
Well, that's the caveat, is that no, see, because what they just did on Bullenbeck is they double dip. They were charging like they owned it and then they billed us for it.
I see.
That was the problem with that, because you like they're having it both ways. They're collecting the lease fee, and when one fails, they bill it, they charged it back to us.
Okay.
And so that's where
Yeah, I
gets
think
weird.
Jay's right that you and Jay, I would include Jerry or somebody from public facilities
Yeah.
in that meeting, and just sit down and talk to Marty or whoever, and or your current contact, even, to just ask him who you need to sit with. And I think
Yeah.
reasonable folks can get around a computer screen or a table and figure this out.
I would also add that if you run into roadblocks, a good friend of mine is the assistant to the CEO at MG&E.
Oh, wow.
So very, very nice person, and very detail oriented, lives around the area. So if you have trouble with the folks that you would directly work with and don't get anywhere, then I think we can approach that person with it.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, yeah,
I think we should go through the normal line of communication and just say, hey guys, how do we fix this? I mean, if you want me to, be involved in the meetings, I'm happy to, so that I'm a little more aware of everything that's going on in some of the communications. And then if it breaks down, then I can easily make that phone call and say, hey, look, we need a fix here. I mean, I've used it once when our house got built. We had some big gaudy MG&E marker for the gas line that was stuck in my yard, and I couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. And so I contacted that person, and it was gone the next day. So
wow.
I think we can find a solution if we're not getting it through the normal channels.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
here's what I'm hearing here. So we'll try to set up a meeting, Michael, with the contact people you've been working with, and then we'll have Jed, myself, and Jerry, you, and the MG&E. And then we'll just talk at an informal thing and see what options are out there. And once we have that, then I think I'm comfortable with bringing it to the board before we take any action.
Right, just informally do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why does the board need to be involved in a billing issue?
Well, because the billing issue, this last paragraph kind of says that we have to make a decision. Do we want to take ownership of all those older poles and stuff?
Right, but if they're ours one way or another, I mean, MG&E can end up doing the same research as Michael at some point and just say, well, we've discovered that you guys own this. Have fun replacing it. Here's our bill. I mean, if we own it, we own it. So it can just end up biting us later on if we don't do it now.
Oh, I agree. But I just think that it is a policy. I mean, we have a streetlight policy. I think it needs to, when there's options, and because this could get, what if MG&E says absolutely not? I don't know if there's an appeal, or you got to go to court, or you got to go to the PSC. I mean, I think we don't know enough, but I think once we do, I think it's always good to keep the board appraised and of any future things that could come up. So I
Right,
think
but
it's,
also letting the board know, putting it in the minutes and all that stuff could potentially give, like MGNE a heads up that this is coming type of thing, and
Well,
they
they
can
know-
prepare
yeah,
their
but they're gonna
defense.
know that anyways, because we're having a meeting with them.
Yeah, so,
First.
okay, I just can see a lot of other things that the board should be doing than a billing question.
I don't know, when
Granted,
you're
it's a
looking-
huge billing question, but
When you're looking at potentially collecting $300,000, I think that's pretty big. If this was gonna be $10, $12, I would agree with you, but we're talking some serious money here.
But, and
Right.
that's just if you go back over the whole life of these pools.
Right, I
mean,
understand that. Yeah,
And that, and even that amount there, I mean, I think if you correct for count and you correct for ownership and combine the two on my spreadsheet, I was getting $68,000 just over the 5 year. But if I add in Scenic Valley, which I didn't find the documentation for because it was in the back, then it goes to 75. If I can put the all 18 lights on Bourbon in that count, the amount can go to $80,000. I haven't been able to prove that we own the 18 lights on Bourbon that were installed when that was expanded. And that's a lot of poles and lights that would be good to have in here. Now, maybe MG&E, just has it in their bills. They'd be like, oh no, we paid for it. Then we don't have to do document search. I don't know how much of this information they have as well. But I'm definitely sure that the count is incorrect. I mean, that one I'm pretty good at. I haven't gone and done a third count, but if anything, I'm off by 2, and that still means we're being overbilled by like 15 and have been for quite some time, I think.
well, I think we kind of have a plan here, next step, and I really appreciate your work on this, Michael. This is again, one of those things that make government more efficient and can really pay dividends. So really appreciate it.
All right, so I think where I'm going to start is I'm going to send, I know, because we want to include Jerry. I don't think Jerry's seen this report. I'm going to send it to Jerry and be like, ask him if he wants to set up the meeting or if I should, because he's known Marty for a long time as well.
Okay.
He's worked with Marty for 20 years. I've worked with him for 3,
No, that's fine.
So, but we need to start the ball rolling, and I'll just tell him that this committee said, and we'd like to set up an informal meeting and we can talk about some of these issues that we found.
Yeah, I think that's a real good start. Any other buddy have comments on that or suggestions? All right, I don't think we need to do any action on this. We'll keep it kind of on the informal right now. We'll report back to everybody at the February meeting. If we can get it scheduled before then, that would be great.
Right.
All right, well, this was a short but good meeting. Do I have any future agenda items that people would like placed on? I guess I would ask that if Bobby, if you could send out that list of who has what, maybe people can start working on that and report back to the February meeting on any of the 2023 budget items, research or information or data or whatever you can come up with.
Particularly if you assigned me to anything since I wasn't there.
Oh, I think you got a long list, Jed. I don't remember. I had my notes, but I lost them. So I can't tell you. I know I had 3 or so.
Yeah, I remember that too. I might actually not be able to make that February meeting because I'm going to be out of town the first week at a conference.
Okay.
But I would love to see that list again because I know there are a couple things I should be looking into.
I'll send it out. Yeah, Jed, we have you looking at the Melody Acres Playground.
Okay.
But I'll email everyone the list out.
All right. Anything else for future agenda items? All right. So do I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion.
second,
Second,
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same. Everybody stay warm.